Hello, world history students. Today we are going to discuss South and Southeast Asia. So, when we're looking at South and Southeast Asia, we're looking at a combination of smaller states or empires or kingdoms or even just nomads who are all kind of existing at the same time and doing their own thing and sometimes fighting, sometimes trading and getting along. We're going to really focus just on three of them today, but just so that you know, there are tons of them, especially around the classical to the post-classical time period and going into the medieval time period. One of the ones that we're going to focus on is Srivijaya. Srivijaya it was mostly based in Indonesia on the island of Sumatra, and it was mostly in power from the 700s to the 1200 time period, roughly around then. When we're looking at how their social structure was set up, there aren't a lot of records that survive to modern day. A lot of what we know is based on their very limited writings or from their religious areas. What we do know is that they did follow a strict class separation and that women were not really in the public eye. They were pretty secluded that way. And this is really in line with their religious leanings. More to come on that when we get to cultural. In terms of their politics, they were a kingdom and they were constantly fighting against other areas near them. And they really tried to protect their interests. That being said, although they were a unified empire, they really didn't focus so much on like establishing a central power base. But instead, they really did focus on building their power through trade and through commerce or making money. In terms of whether or not they were a land-based or a maritime empire, they were a maritime empire. Again, maritime means that they were ocean-based or that they were kind of using the sea. Additionally, when we're looking at them interacting with the environment, around Indonesia, they have a lot of canals and small different places with waterways. And so if you did not know the lay of the land, you were kind of trapped. And so they really had this monopoly on going to East Asia or from East Asia. And that really helped gain them power because East Asia is on the Silk Road, it's on the Indian Ocean trade route, and it really is just like you were able to make a lot of money based on just taxing people who were trying to pass through. Additionally, they did use naval nomads in order to help them police the area. And you could think of the naval nomads as kind of like pirates, except without like the plundering booty and pillaging and stuff. Instead, these are people who lived on boats for the majority of their lives. Going into the Srivijaya culture, though, they were mainly Buddhist, and they kind of had their own version of Buddhism. But again, when trade continued to like spread, Buddhism spread to Srivijaya, and it kind of got super popular there. They weren't necessarily famous for a specific cultural or language or artistic or musical thing. They were mostly just famous for their influence on the Indian Ocean trade routes. So as we go further into our graphic organizer, you can see that when you're looking at their economic systems, they were charging taxes and fees in order to make a profit on the people traveling. They didn't necessarily have their own goods that they really were pushing on people, but they were kind of like the iPass of that time. Additionally, when it comes to technology, they were one of the world's first navies. Their fleet of ships was pretty massive. Additionally, they were famous for just their waterways and their water travel, the aqueducts, whatever, and just going into different ways that they can control the ocean and who's traveling around them during that time. If you're looking at Srivijaya on a map, you can actually see that this is Indonesia over here, and the Java Sea is right over here. For context, if you look at a globe of Asia, India is right here. You're hitting China like right over here. And then right over here is Indonesia. And so we're seeing that the Srivijaya Empire did kind of go right in between and block people from Africa to come to try to hit East Asia. So they were really in an awesome position to influence trade routes. Now that is Srivijaya in a nutshell. If you have any questions or concerns on how they were influenced on the trade routes or just on them as a people, feel free to ask, and I shall do my best to answer. Thank you.